Overallocated resources are work resources that are either working more hours than their assigned hours, like if they're full-time and they're working more than 8 hours, or if they're part-time and they're working more than 4 hours a day, or they're working during a non-working day or an exception day, or they're working during a time period in which they're really not available. In other words, we assign them to a task that they're on vacation. I mean, they're overallocated because, hey, they're on vacation, they can't come in to complete the task during that time period. Now, new to Project 2010 in the Gantt chart, any task with an assigned resource that is overallocated, it will display a red dude here over in the indicator column. You can see when I hover over that dude, it has a pop-up that says this task has resources assigned which are overallocated. You can go ahead and right-click for options. Let's see what those options are. Right-click, and you've got two. You can ignore the problem, which, hey, anytime I ignore a problem, it always goes away. So let's go ahead and say ignore. Hey, it went away. Well, no, just the red dude, not the overallocation. So let's go ahead and hit undo and right-click on it again. To see the other option that you can go ahead and fix in Task Inspector, select that. Now it gives us a little bit more information. Remember, it's the search internal documentation. 3.5 days is the duration. And the resources you can see over in the Gantt chart that are assigned to it are the Writer 1 and Admin Assistant 2. The more information that we got is that the resource that's overallocated is the Admin Assistant, because this resource was assigned during a non-working time. I mean, are they working during hours that they're not available, or are they working during a period, like a week or 2 weeks, that they're not available? In any case, we can do more research on that. But as far as the Task Inspector goes, you can go ahead and have the inspector figure this out and reschedule the task so that it can find a time for this task to be worked by the Admin Assistant 2, the next available time slot. So if we go ahead and click on Reschedule, hey, you don't see the red dude anymore because, well, before we go over in the Gantt chart, you can see that instead of being 3.5 days for the duration, it now takes 5 days for search internal documentation. And then over in the Gantt chart, you can see that we got a blue bar here and then a dot, dot, dot. Let's go ahead and scroll over to the end of it. You can see the end of the blue bar. That's what's known as a split task, and we'll go over that in a later training video. But what that did is it says, okay, the task will start here, but really we can't work on the task until the Admin Assistant 2 is available, so we'll split it and just say, okay, Admin Assistant 2 is available on, I believe, let me hover over the time scale, October the 15th. Well, it's hard to tell because, let's come up here and click on the View tab, go to the Zoom group. I believe it's looking at it every 3 or 4 days. So if I click on the drop-down arrow, there you go. As soon as I click on it, it says 4 days. It just updated. Oh, that's nice. Okay, let's go ahead and select days. That way I can look at it day by day. So there's Saturday, there's Sunday. And I can go ahead and scroll over here to the end. All right. So we've got Friday, day 1, Monday, day 2, Tuesday 3, Wednesday 4, and Thursday 5. So a total of 5 working days. Now, I know that when we go back here to the beginning when it starts, it's got, well, it looks like 1, 2, 3 days or so. In any case, it says it's going to start on the 8th, but the Admin Assistant's not available until later on, so it split it, saying, okay, we're actually going to do the work when the Admin Assistant's available, which will be for a total of 5 days. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and undo that, and let's undo it again, and then close out of the Task Inspector, and oh, there I go again. The Gantt chart totally gives me a blank. Maybe this is just my computer. But if that happens to you, then just go ahead and close out of the program and reopen it back up. And I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, there we go. You see, I was really fast. Okay, let's go ahead and scroll back over so we can see most of our Gantt chart here. And then we've got these others overallocated here, here, here. Now, looking in the Gantt chart, see if you can take a guess of why these resources assigned to these tasks were overallocated. The Admin Assistant 2s during a non-working time. I mean, I can get more information, as you just recalled, when you right-click on it and go to Fix in Task Inspector, and that brings up and says, okay, Writer 1 resource is overallocated due to work on another task. So it looks like resource Writer 1 is working on this task as well as another task at the same time. There we go. So this task, and then there's that task. Wait a second. Let me look at it just a bit closer. This task is at the same time as that task, but why is this task not starting after that task has been completed? Well, here goes the detective work. If you hover over this relationship, you can see that it's coming from task 9. It's not coming from task 10. So the relationship is not from task 10 here, but task 9. So it's coming from task 9, not from task 10. That's why this one's going to start as soon as this one has been completed. And also at the same time is going to be the next task that's going to start as soon as its predecessor has completed. So we've got two tasks here that have the same predecessor, and that's why when you see writer 1 assigned to this task and also to that task, you're going to have, well, 8 hours here on the first day and 8 hours there, so 16 hours. That writer's going to be pooped working 16-hour days. Well, they're over-allocated because they're only assigned to work 8 hours a day. So you can start thinking of what you're going to be doing. Either go ahead and remove the writer from one of the tasks, or reschedule the task, or assign somebody else in the writer's place so they're not working, or actually you can go ahead and assign them overtime, and we'll cover that in a later training video. So the purpose of this training video is to learn about overallocated resources and the other views that can help you determine the why of the resource being overallocated. So, well, here's one view, and the other views that we can go to, let's come over here and right click on the view bar, and let's go to the resource sheet. So anybody in red is overallocated, writer 1 and admin assistant 2. And then you get these yellow yield signs that when you hover over it, it says that the resource is overallocated. Okay, we know that. And it recommends that it should be leveled. Well, we'll learn about resource leveling in the next training video. That just means it's another, like we just saw in the task inspector, something that's going to be automated saying, okay, project's going to go ahead and either delay the task or split it to avoid conflict. And my recommendation when it comes to automation, that when you have project automated, you still have to go in and figure out what project did. So for all intents and purposes, I don't let project automate it for me, because once I do, I have to figure out what it did, and instead of doing that, why don't I just do it myself? So I know what happened, and I don't have to go ahead and figure it out if I had it automated for me. In any case, that's going to be up to you. Let's go ahead and move on. So in the resource sheet, you can see that these resources are overallocated, and as you recall, admin assistant 2, you can see it's got 0% here for the max. Well, when that happens, if you double click on the resource and you go to the General tab in the resource availability, you can see that they're available from the 15th through November the 30th. So that helps, and they're available 100% of the time, but if we go to change working time, what time is that? Is it 8 to noon and then 1 to 5? No, because when you select any one of these working times here, it's going to be from the default for them to work is 4-hour days, just 8 to noon. So keep that in mind when you can't figure out why they're overallocated if they're not working more than 8-hour days. This helps right here. Either we have them scheduled before the 15th of October or after November 30th, or we have them scheduled during that time, but we have them scheduled more than their default 4 hours a day. They're 4.5 or 6 hours, anything over 4 hours. Let's go ahead and click cancel. We can go to writer 1, double click. Okay, the resource availability, they're available anytime, so it's not applicable, and their working time, well, you can see is a full 8-hour days. Let's go ahead and click cancel, and their maximum units is at 100%. Okay, so it all ties in together and helping us to figure out why they're overallocated. Okay, that's one view. Another view is the resource graph. Let's come over here and right click on the view bar and come down here to resource graph. It's split into two windows. In the left window, you have the name of the resource, and then if they're in red, it means that they're overallocated. In the right window, well, you'll be able to see the graph once we get to it. You can see in the timeline, I'm in 2013 and my project's in 2010, so I can come down here on the right hand side and let's click back. There we go. We're in 2010 in just a single click. Okay, and we can go ahead and scroll over and hover over the red bars, and you can see that for this resource, let's see, writer 1 is overallocated for Monday and Tuesday. In other words, in the blue is their 8 hours at 100%. Anything over that, like 125%, would be, well, 8 hours is 100%, 25% would be 2 hours, so that'd be 10. But you can see that they're at 200%, so 8 plus 8 is 16. They're overallocated. There's 100% there, so in any case, let's go ahead and keep scrolling back and see if there's any. Oh, there's another overallocation for writer 1, and it's on Monday. Let's hover over up here, the September the 27th of 2010. You can keep scrolling back and forth for writer 1 to find out when they're overallocated. Now to go ahead and go to the next resource in the left window. Go ahead and click over. Now we're at Writer 2, and you can see that Writer 2, the title's not in red. Let's go to Editor 1, Editor 2, Artist 1, Account Rep. Well, remember, the only other one that was overallocated was Admin Assistant 2, in which case, let's go ahead and scroll over because they're available from October the 15th on. You can see that black line here, is that at the 15th? Let me click up here, hover over it, the 14th, the 15th. Okay, so the black box are available from the 15th, and we can scroll over to the end of November, the 30th. You can see that's when their availability, that's the window. So if you don't see any bars here, then, well, okay, at least for Admin Assistant 2, they're not supposed to be working during that time frame, so it's not going to show any. So that's not going to be helpful for those that are scheduled during a period in which they're not available. Okay, so that's another view to help you troubleshoot, or another way to look at overallocated resources. Now there's the Team Planner view. Let's take a look at that and see if that's something that you'll find helpful for you when you're trying to figure out or have a way of looking at your overallocated resources. Let's right-click on the view bar. There's the Team Planner. Go to that. I like this one. This one's pretty cool. You've got Writer 1, that's in red. Okay, they're overallocated. And let's go ahead and you can see that the tasks that they're assigned to here, search internal documentation, interview subject matter experts, you hover over it, gives you a pop-up, a little bit more information. And then let's go down to the bottom here so we can get that little scrolly here. Head and scroll over until we can see that you've got write content here, and also review with subject matter experts. And you can see that, well, 8 plus 8 is 16, they're overallocated. They should only be working 8-hour days. So review with subject matter experts, maybe we should go ahead and unassign Writer 1 to that, maybe assign Writer 2 to that. Well, if we do that, they're working on write content as well. They'd be overallocated. So these are the things that you want to figure out when you're looking at these views. And then you can go back to your Gantt chart or other views to help you go ahead and reassign or unassign those resources from one task to another to make sure that they're not overallocated. And you can see over here, let's see, Monday and Tuesday, we've got 2 tasks that are crossing over. So this task right here, why is it starting a little bit earlier? Shouldn't it be a finish to start relationship? You've got proofread and add images. So when I hover over the task, it's got a duration of 2 days, but it doesn't tell me if it has any lead time. If I double click on it, let's see, 2 days, let's go to the predecessors, and there we go. That makes sense. Because the relationship is finished to start, this task is supposed to be starting when the predecessor is finished, but we've got a lead time of 50%. So when this task is about halfway completed, then go ahead and start the next one. And the problem with that is that having the same resource assigned to both tasks, well, then he's working on this one when this one is about halfway completed. Let me click off to start on that one as well. So there's, well, at least for, it looks like 2 days, he'll be working 16-hour days. Well, that is if we want to give him overtime. Okay, so there's the Team Planner. The last view, and my favorite view when it comes to working with resources, is the Resource Usage view. Let me come over here and right-click on the view bar, come down here and go to Resource Usage, and well, we've been here before a couple of times in the previous training videos. And there we go, Writer 1 is overallocated. Now if I go ahead and I come up here on the Resource tab, go to the Level group and click on Next Overallocation, it should take me to the next overallocated resource here. Let me click on it again. It happens where it says, okay, I've already finished checking, and what I do is I go ahead and close out and reopen up my project. But it should take you right to the next overallocation. If it doesn't, go ahead and select the task that the resource is assigned to. Come up here and click on the task, and come over here to the editing group and say scroll to task. You see there in black. In other words, this is the task, and here's the summary. So 8 hours, there's the summary, is 8 hours. Let's go to the next one and click on scroll to task. We've got 8 hours for that task, which is the summary for that day. In other words, the totals. So if we had this task at 8 and that at 8, the summary or the total for that day would be 16. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. Scroll to, like I said, it's not working for me, but on the resource tab I should be able to click on next overallocation, but it freezes up on me. It's a project issue that I've run into that, well, at least it doesn't work for me. Let's go back to the task tab, click on scroll to, and go to the next one, scroll to. We're just looking for red. Scroll to and oh, there we go. But it's not for this task. It's for review with subject matter experts. Scroll to that task. You can see that we've got review with subject matter experts at 8 hours and also write content at 8 on the same day. So the summary of those two is 16. Okay, that's not going to work. Okay. Do we have any others like add images? Scroll to. Oh, looks like we've got something here, but not add images for Friday, but for the following Monday, because we also have to proofread. So there's 8 plus 4 is 12 in red because it's over 8 hours, and in any case, you get the idea. So if I go ahead and scroll down to admin assistant, and I select that one, and I say scroll to task, there you go. Wow, 4 hours. They can't even work 4. They're really wimpy. Well, as you recall, the admin assistant, when you double click here, is only available between October the 15th and November the 30th. And when I click cancel and come up here and hover over the day here, well, that's before October the 15th, so that's a no-no. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel to get notified of the latest videos. And for great specials on my products, please see the description below this video.